Case study number 1, the phony backups. So we have a large university in the early 2000s that hires this gentleman, and we'll see this is a common trait, 2 gentlemen hired in the stories today. To come in, he goes in every Monday, he rotates approximately 24 tapes from this university's tape backup system into a fireproof safe in the building next door. And he does this every Monday, week after week, which I'm sure everybody, that's a pretty standard tape backup process, this type of rotation. The disaster comes. So we have a situation where they lose 3 servers on a Sunday, and it just so happens that these 3 servers work in perfect concert to totally bring down the university's email system. So the recovery effort starts strong, no issues. They get their tapes from the fireproof safe next door, they bring them over, they start the restoration process, no big deal, right? Until they realize that as they're recovering the data is actually 10 months old. So they're starting to get worried, they continue the restoration process, and then they have a second horrifying realization that the tape backup system, someone goes over and checks on it, and it's covered in dust, not powered up, doesn't look like it's been used in ages. So the outcome of this particular situation was that the tape library hadn't actually been operational in 10 months. What was happening was the gentleman who was going into the data center every day would walk into the data center, nobody was watching him, he would walk up to the backup log, he would write down the tape rotation for the given day, he would turn around and he would walk back out. He was never actually cycling any of the tapes through. So, not exactly the position that you want to be in with your tape backup recovery. So what lessons do we learn from this particular case study? Test your backups. This is going to be a very common theme today. Test your backups. I know everyone gets tired of hearing that, but you have to test your backups. This would definitely avoid this situation, because if someone was going in, even on a quarterly basis, to look at the data, reconstitute the data from a tape, they would have noticed that there were issues. Thoroughly train your backup managers, and more importantly, this is something that often gets overlooked. Review their procedures periodically. If you are in charge of the backup, that's a little bit of a different story, but if you're overseeing a department where you have someone else that is in charge of the process for backups, periodically check in with them and see how the processes are going, if there's any issues with that process. You can also implement an automated backup strategy that leverages WAN replication instead of a manual disk process.